welcome to this seminar on broadening the talent pool for STEM faculty at community colleges. In this particular episode, I will be covering what is a regional collaborative. And this module and seminar are sponsored by the Office of Community College Research and Leadership in collaboration with the National Science Foundation includes Aspire Alliance. My name is Lorenzo Baber. I'm a professor in higher education here in the College of Education at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and I also serve as director of the Office of Community College Research and Leadership. In that role, I've been involved in this particular RC collaborative for the entire life cycle over the last 7 years, and I'll be providing just a general overview of the RCs in hopes of providing more information for future collaboration with those who are interested in expanding their own RCs or creating new RCs at their institution in partnership with other regional institutions. So what is a regional collaborative? So this is work as part of the Aspire Alliance at the Association of Public Land Grant Universities, APLU. And in this work, we connect with their iChange network project by looking at expanding the STEM faculty talent pool, particularly for community colleges, by fostering partnerships across higher education and thinking about lowering the silos between 2 years and 4 year institutions, as well as disciplinary organizations, to really expand pathways for graduate students who may be interested in working at a community college as a faculty member. We originally started with 3 regional collaboratives and now have expanded over the last 7 years to 9, with again hopes of uh, uh, inviting more partner institutions in future work. So our goals are very simple, but as you all know, simple goals can be complex in their achievement. First, we want to broaden the pool of graduate students and other qualified professionals to pursue teaching careers in STEM at community colleges. We know that teaching careers in STEM are very meaningful and valuable, but often are not seen as a potential pathway, particularly for graduate students as well as those who may be working in industry and want a career transition. So our first goal is really to broaden that talent pool among both graduate students and industry trained professionals and opening that window for them to view and see a sustainable career in teaching at a community college. The second is to strengthen the skills, pedagogical and teaching skills of these new faculty members uh, who, as they think about teaching at a community college, understanding that there is a unique student population at community colleges. And so traditional pedagogy and teaching approaches may not be the best approach as an instructor. And so not only widening the path towards these careers, but also providing the skills and training so that they can be successful in working with the students who attend community colleges. So our rationale, first, we understand that community colleges, as you all know, are open access institutions. And as such, they have students from a diverse set of backgrounds. And that community colleges are often for this diverse set of background students, the initial pathway in their post-secondary pursuits. So when we think about students from urban areas or rural areas, when we think about students from who may be the first in their family to attend a post-secondary institution and or are from low-income communities, or students from racial minoritized populations. Community colleges serve a disproportionate amount of those students. And so as open access institutions, and so thinking about expanding our talent in STEM, we must consider community colleges as a critical ground for that work. We also understand that the pathways for most community college or 2 year college faculty are regional, as individuals tend to be locally bounded. So we know that for most community college faculty, they have established careers, especially those who may be transitioning from industry, or even students who are in graduate work at a four-year institution in graduate school may be locally bound. And so a lot of times the pathways for sustainable college faculty teaching careers start out by identifying a talent pool regionally or locally. And then finally, we know that broadening the talent pool for STEM faculty is acute for community colleges. We know, again, that community colleges, as they serve a broad population of students, they need an equally broad population of talent among STEM faculty. So again, we take a regional collaborative approach, understanding that again, thinking about students as locally as local, enrollment local, faculty and local, that there really is a need for relationship building, trust building, and policy and practical work between community colleges and their university partners, particularly within regions. And so the model really emphasizes that mutually beneficial local relationship and emphasizes collaboration and consistent communication across disciplines within those institutions to create and sustain local ecosystems that strengthen faculty pathways and faculty development. So what are the components of the current RC model? First, again, we focus on geographically focused partnerships. So our first emphasis is connecting community colleges and four-year institutions to create these pathways for graduate students. So the first component is to really think about graduate schools related to STEM disciplines and thinking about connecting the students in those programs to their local community college or the local community college in their area to really inform them about potential careers as teaching faculty at community colleges. We also engage with our national partners and national disciplinary societies. So thinking about utilizing them to again elevate this potential career pathway for those in the discipline or in the industry, and thinking about how to broaden the efforts and how those align with larger workforce needs in STEM. The second component is really a cohort-based professional development model. So we encourage partners to think through ways in which they can build cohorts to train, mentor, and professionalize graduate students for community college faculty roles. So thinking about ways in which these students might get some information, not only information, but also experience with the community college context and thinking through that area. And then we emphasize inclusive hiring practices and systemic change in faculty recruitment, again, to broaden that talent pool among in the region, in the local area, so that all community colleges, whether in the region or the state, will benefit from a broader pool that they can draw from as they recalibrate their programs or hire new faculty as experienced faculty cycle out at their institution. The third component is a backbone, excuse me, which supports and coordinates the work. So the backbone, which the Office of Community College Research and Leadership now serves as, really provides those functions of getting folks together, particularly collaborative leads, to share both opportunities and challenges and come together with a shared approach for accomplishing and extending the success as well as thinking through as thought partners some of the challenges and ways to overcome those challenges. The backbone also serves for activity planning and implementation, tracking the plans and implementation of various projects. We see regional collaboratives as kind of their own kind of laboratories. So we have consistent practices across each of the regional collaboratives, but we also understand that there might be some local planning and implementation based on kind of the unique context. And so the backbone also serves to support those areas. And finally, the backbone provides support for research and dissemination of best practices and outcomes. So thinking through not only what we are doing at the regional collaborative, but how we can better understand our outcomes through research, as well as sharing our success and challenges to the broader community so that there is hopefully some opportunities for replication and sustainability beyond the initial RCs and extending that out in hopes that we can continue to build RCs across the country. And finally, the fourth component is a collective impact approach. So again, working with RCs and industry partners to think about common metrics for success, theoretical frameworks that can help support the practice, and ways in which those theories can be adjusted, particularly for specific program design, especially at community colleges. And then collective impact in terms of that cross-institutional collaboration. So thinking about kind of reducing those traditional silos between community colleges and universities, or two-year institutions and four-year institutions, to really foster both trust building, communication, and effective collaboration to address systemic barriers related to broadening participation in STEM among students and among faculty who are teaching in those areas. So this is what regional change looks like now. As you can see, these are the 9 regional collaboratives that we have now. The 3 areas in bold are our original 3 regional collaboratives: Southern California, North Texas, and Iowa. And we have expanded over the years to include both second regional collaboratives, both in Texas and California, as well as regional collaboratives in Ohio, Wisconsin, Massachusetts, and Florida. So we obviously have expanded our network from those initial collaboratives and institutions and partners, but we are looking forward to expanding even more, particularly in areas of the country that we have not reached yet. So some of our results so far, first, we have our semester-long teaching practicum. So this, for many of the regional collaboratives, they provide graduate students at the four-year institution who are going through their graduate education, particularly towards the end of their graduate education, and offer a semester-long practicum, teaching practicum at the local community college. And we have shown, it has shown that participants overall have improvement in self-efficacy and confidence in teaching at community college, as well as pursuing positions at community colleges. We also found that through this practicum, participants report significant increases in interest in community college careers, with largest gains from students from underrepresented populations, specifically African American and Latinx graduate students. Institutional self-assessment tool. So we have identified and developed, and in a future episode for this module, you'll see some of our work on the self-assessment tool. But we've really looked at what the self-assessment tool that helped support and drive iChange, and recalibrating that for community college context. And so we've piloted this self-assessment tool, again, aimed at broadening participation, thinking about the policies and practices at community colleges and the ways in which the self-assessment tool can identify both the successes of the current policies and practices, as well as some of the needs for improvement in terms of building, again, that talent pool for pursuit of faculty at community college, teaching at community colleges. And then finally, our results, the across the community college and four-year institution divide. Um, we have found that through this work, there's either it strengthens already existing partnerships, or provides initial energy towards building partnerships across the two-year, four-year dyads. And that is particularly important In this time, as we know, because post-secondary higher education is in a unique context, and so more collaboration, especially across sectors, is needed during this time. And RC leads continue to meet regularly to share their updates and best practices. So one of the things we've learned is through our shared collaborative network, we've seen kind of consistency of things that work well for scalability across the RCs, as well as common challenges. And again, that thoughtful meeting together and going through those challenges and thinking about ways that we can recalibrate our work, particularly across the 2-year, 4-year sector. Some potential future directions, again, to continue to scale and sustain current RCs, as well as really we want to think about new RCs, which is the point of this seminar series. So hopefully inspire new regions across the country to think about developing an RC model with particular attention to institutions that fall under the tribal colleges, historically Black colleges and universities, and other MSIs, Hispanic serving institutions, and other MSIs, institutions that serve rural areas as well as urban areas included in this area. So really, again, to expand our network and expand the energy of the work that we've developed over the last 7 years, with emphasis on also being inclusive of different institutional types. We also, potential future direction is offer the self-assessment tool to a wider audience and providing some technical assistance or professional development around the self-assessment tool so that institutions can use this as a way of not only seeing where they are now, but to potentially thinking through what new directions they can take to broaden the talent pool at their in their region or local location. And then finally, continue to focus on both traditional and non-traditional forms of dissemination to inform policies and practices. So thinking about not only our ways of disseminating our empirical evidence of success, but also ways that we can reach audiences through non-traditional means like webinars like this, other seminar series, posts, blog posts, podcasts, and other areas so that we can continue the momentum of recruiting faculty as well as increasing our work around teaching and pedagogy and really that sustainability of partnerships across time. So that's a little bit about the RC model and what we've been able to accomplish, as well as what we hope this module and series will inspire others to come into and think through potentially joining us as partners for future work with the regional collaborative model. Thank you.